guys, welcome to the channel, The Agnostic Philosopher. I'm Don. I'm doing one that's maybe a little bit different here, and it's on multiculturalism and is it good for a society? I was just intrigued by the title as well as it's a short one. It's only just over 2 minutes long, and Melanie Phillips is answering the question of the, I guess, the interviewer. And she is a British journalist, commentator. I have my views. There are certain strengths that can be derived from variety. Certainly, variety of opinions and ideas can help strengthen a group if you are able to come to a reasonable consensus among the divergent or various viewpoints. But it's also a weakness because you can be divided among yourselves. And on this channel, I do a lot of atheistic stuff and theistic stuff and just give my thoughts on things. And I've seen, you put a group of atheists and theists in a room and ask them to come to a common conclusion, and they won't do it. And eventually they won't even be able to put up a fence together because they can't stand each other. So I'm curious to see what she's got to say about multiculturalism. It's unavoidable on planet Earth because, for the most part, there are very few extremely isolated communities that don't have diversity. But all right, let's see how she answers this.
You do raise the issue in this conversation, but also in the book, of multiculturalism. You make the point that, of course, you can have multiracial societies, but you can't have multicultural societies that are going to work if the host culture believes itself to be inadequate, weak, poisonous, disastrous, not worthy of defending.
Well, this is the point about multiculturalism. Again, it's a phrase, it's a term which is more misunderstood than understood. And people assume that multiculturalism is a good thing because what it means is that you have to respect other cultures. Well, it doesn't mean that. We should all respect other cultures. That should be a starting point for a decent and civilized society.
Right.
Multiculturalism says something quite different. It says that no culture is morally superior or intellectually superior to any other culture. So it follows that you can't uphold the West against any other culture. You can't say that Western core values are better than any other. As a result, you can't uphold things like democracy, one law for all, freedom of expression, equality for women, tolerance of minorities. You can't uphold any of that. It's a nonsense.
Yeah, it's sort of like if you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. It basically strips you of judgment. And we do need to judge things. And I don't mean instinctively criticize things. That's how most people take the word judgment to be a pejorative term, or they take it pejoratively. And I don't. Judgment, we make judgments every second of the day. You're going to walk to the refrigerator. You don't want to walk into the chair on the way there, or the kitchen island on the way there, or the kitchen table on the way there, because that's bad. You have experience with that hurting, so you don't do it. That's a judgment you're making. You're going to go around the table, open the refrigerator. What to get? What do I feel like eating? What do I need? What's good for my body? What's not? We are forming judgments all the time. We are forming judgments about other people as well. And we utilize our mental faculties to an extent. If you read Kahneman and Tversky, even The Undoing Project was a great introduction to their work by Michael Lewis, which is a fantastic book. But if you read Thinking Fast and Slow, you see that the argument there is that there are two basic ways in which we think. One is more cognitively, more purposefully, thinking more slowly about things deliberately. Other is fast, instinctive motions, movements, thoughts designed to keep us alive, survival, things that we don't really think about. We react to. It's more a reactive mind in a way. So we are constantly or continually using our minds and our thoughts. And this shows up in how we react to others, theists, atheists, for example. But we need to make judgments. One thing is better than another. Thomas Sowell has great work on the idea, the it's a misguided egalitarianism that everybody and everything is equal and even among all cultures. Everything is the same. Well, those of us in the West think Sharia law is a pretty bad idea. And women shouldn't have to cover. Women shouldn't be beaten just because we feel like it. That's genuinely a bad idea. At least it's a Western idea. Maybe I'm making a circular argument on that, but I think culturally it is better to allow a bit more freedom, if you will, than what Sharia law allows. I think a lot more freedom. So let's see how she concludes this.
And it's a recipe for cultural suicide. So a multicultural society, I say in terms, is a contradiction in terms. Multiculturalism destroys a society. It destroys community cohesion.
Yeah.
It sets up a kind of balkanized, tribal set of tribal enclaves which are all fighting each other for power and supremacy. Yeah. And that's the way our culture actually dies.
I mean, she's along the lines of saying a house divided can't stand or won't stand. I guess the one thing I would say that pops in mind against that is that there is no homogenous society. So even if you had all Chinese folks in one area, all Swedes in one area there would be a divergence of opinion within it. Would there be a divergence, therefore, of culture? Yeah, you can say that. I mean, you've got the young folks, teenagers have their own culture, have their own musical taste in music. Older folks have their own way in which they like to do things. Would you call that a different culture? You could. So is it worse? I mean, I think there were probably about, 8 or 10 years ago, there was a story of a gentleman in the Amish country, I think in Pennsylvania, and that's a fairly homogeneous society. And he went ballistic and I think shot 7 people. He just lost his mind. But I think what she is saying, I think what Melanie was saying here is simply that you have this additional burden placed on the survivability of a country or not necessarily country, of a culture when you introduce another one to it. Because then they begin competing for what's the right way to do things. And that's a distraction. It requires energy. It requires resources to defend your turf, if you will. So it's a fascinating topic, absolutely. But I mean, I think the point simply, if you break it down into an expenditure of energy, it does. If you have a culture in place and then you introduce another culture, you can be done. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Leave your comments. I'll see you on another video and keep thinking philosophically. Hey, folks, if you want to take the personality test that I created for my life coaching practice, which is based on the book that I wrote, put your phone up, turn it on camera, and focus on this, and it'll take you to it. And it'll take you about 20 minutes to complete the test. It's free. And you'll get some information on your personality. It's quite detailed, quite revealing. It's kind of fun as well. And I'll be leaving this QR code up on the wall behind me for my regular videos. So I hope you take it, and I hope you enjoy it.